What's up, people? Yeah, the so-called white man, so-called white people, they can afford more than we can. I would say, they can afford a little bit more than we can. On average, they can. They can afford more than we can. Like, for example, I'm gonna give a lot of examples. If you go into the average African American black community, right? If you go into the average African American black community, right? Over 70%, I say 70%, between 70% and 80% of our communities, if you say $500 in our community, right, and going into the store and purchasing a TV or electronic, let's say the electronic, we living in modern day. Hold on, wait a minute. Let's do something right. Okay, somebody had the music on. The person in the car right there. All right, let's say like the average, if you say 70% of the so-called our so-called African American home, you say $500 in our community, I guarantee you all of us will walk out. All right, what's up? Every last one of us will walk out. We'll be looking at each other. We already know right off the bat, I can't afford this shit. You see what I'm saying? I done been there a many times. I just experienced that tonight. I just went into a T-Mobile. I just went into there and I asked them. I said, "What are the requirements?" Because see, when you get certain services, or when you purchase an internet or whatever it is that you are purchasing, whatever you requiring about, you know what I'm saying? You have the people that they'll help you and assist you, and what plans they have that you can afford and that you're available to get or whatever. And you say, "Well, what are the requirements of getting a free phone, or what are the requirements of getting a tablet or iPad or whatever, this and that and the third?" Immediately, when they say 500 and some dollars right off the bat, immediately we all know right off the top, we automatically know that's a hell no. We out of that. We out of this motherfucker. You see what I'm saying? We up out of that because we know that we can't afford no shit like that. You know, not that much at one time. I'm not saying, and if we do have, most of us that have that type of money, we have to put it in bills, we have to put it in rent. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how it is with your family. And all of these are curses according to Deuteronomy chapter 28. And I'm going to put the Deuteronomy 28 chapter 8 in the description box so that people will know exactly where to go and get the information from and why I said what I said. If you look at the other nations, especially the so-called white race, the so-called white race is more in control of this world, and they can afford anything that they can get. And that's why it boggles me when our people sit up and tell you that the Bible is not real, the Bible is not this, the Bible is not that. Of course the Bible is real. Anytime you see something like simple as just as simple as that or whatever, you know that book is real. Because you know the average of us as people of color, you know damn well we can't afford no $500. If you talk about a computer, if you talk about a TV or whatever, we ain't even seen damn near not even close to $500 in what black person you able that you know that's able to put that kind of money in their pocket. Just cash, straight up cash. I never owned hold on. I never owned $1,000 at one time and was able to put that in my pocket and say I just got cash. Because our families is not able, don't have that kind of money. Even when we was coming up and I was a little boy and I was a baby, I was talking, as a matter of fact, I was talking to one of my family members about that today. I said, remember we used to go in the store, and when I was a little boy, I used to be crying because you couldn't afford certain toys or something like that. And I would start crying, and then when I would cry and I told you, you told me plainly that you couldn't afford it, and I almost got a whooping. You know what I'm saying? Because see, as a black child, a so-called black child, you see what I'm saying? I don't call myself black or nothing like that, but I will say that I am. I will say that I was. I can relate to, as a person of color, growing up and not being able to just afford certain things. we grew up to where we had food problems. I'm not trying to say it, trying to expose and just put a lot of business out there, but I'm saying this here literally for educational purposes. This is to help educate and wake our people up. You know what I'm saying? And different things like that. You know what I'm saying? Because the average black, so-called black person, if I would ask anyone of the so-called black people about this same subject, they'll know it's truth, but they don't want to argue with you because they don't want the truth to be exposed because they are like confined to this world. They feel like they're afraid. They come out and tell Esau he the devil that the Bible speaks of and which he is, or whatever. Tell the white man he the enemy and his people that rule the planet, his forefathers is the enemy over us and ruling over us. Our people will sit there and will argue with you from like it's dark out here. They'll argue with you to 5 in the damn morning. They literally would pass by and just keep going. They would know what you're saying is true, but they'll pass right by here and wouldn't even give you the time of the day, even if you were sitting here trying to tell them they national. And here I am sitting out here right now. You see what I'm saying? And this is, I said, this is what I'm gonna start doing. Just like you got a gentleman right there, so-called, but I'm not trying. A so-called black man is coming right there, and if you, more than likely, if you ask them what's, like, tell them the condition that we in, more than likely they wouldn't have time. They'll just keep going. You know what I'm saying? More than likely, yeah, they'll keep going, but they don't want to hear nothing about what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? Because it's basically like when you tell the truth, they'll stir up something against you, man. They'll try to accuse you of being um, like disturbing the peace and all that kind of stuff, disturbing them and stuff. It's just amazing how our people will sit right there and they will argue with you over when you tell them something about the nation of the so-called white man, the condition that they got our people in. You see what I'm saying? Because we grew up to where we had no food in the house. And I'm saying maybe that's, I mean, we was coming up. And all of these things are in Deuteronomy chapter 28. He said, curses shall be thy basket in thy store. Cursed will be your business. Your business will be cursed. Everything will be cursed. Your children will be cursed. Your children will be going into captivity and jail and all that kind of stuff. Who experienced that more than anybody? Our people do. In my family, it's like that in my family. You see what I'm saying? Um, Going to jail and stuff. And who fill up the mass incarceration and things of that nature? The so-called black and Hispanic and Native, my people experience that. You see what I'm saying? My people go through that the most. You see what I'm saying? Who experience single parents home more than anybody? The so-called blacks, Hispanic. You looking at one. Yeah, you're actually looking at one. You see what I'm saying? Single parent household. You know? Yeah, man. You actually look at, that's what you're looking at when you see our people. So when you take, let's take $500 to so-called white people, Europeans, it's like $5. That ain't shit to them. They would tell you if we told them probably we couldn't afford $500 up underneath the surface, they'd probably be laughing at us in a way, like like hell, that ain't nothing for me, stuff like that. But when you look at our people, yeah, when you look at our people, yeah, when you look at our people, bro, um, we don't we that's what we go through, man. Yeah, when you look at our people compared to them, they know that they know what I'm saying is true. They can know what you're saying is true, and they'll still be evil and hateful towards you. You know? Oops, hold on. Yeah, so-called white people, they can know, and they will know that. Hold on, I ain't got to go that far. I'm gonna sit right off up in here. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, so-called white people, they can know what you're saying is true. Our people can know what you're saying is true, but they'll still sit right there and argue with you from from 8 at night to 6 or 7 or 8 in the morning. They will. And then you be like, damn. Because think about it. If you are a so-called black person, a so-called person of color, if you watching this and if this apply to you, then you'll know what I'm talking about. You'll be able to relate to it. Like, if you go and so somebody say this is $517, 500, if they say anywhere between 500 over five, like 600, maybe four, three, like three, four, 500, you automatically know you can't afford that shit. Because, and when you look at a so-called white person that run the world, like the government and stuff, paying for something that's $500, it's like them paying $5 for a little small fan or something, or like buying a soda, a Coke or something. You know what I mean? That's how it is. Putting down on a car, putting $5,000 down on a car is like them putting what? Let's see here. Let me see if I can think of a number. It's like putting, to them, it's like $500 would be like putting $55 down on a car. To them, that's what it feels like to them, because they don't know what it's like to be poor. They don't know what a struggle is. You see what I'm saying? They don't know. They can't. They can. A so-called white person cannot come up here and relate to what I'm talking about and can tell me something about being poor, because if they literally came in my presence and said something like that, let me go back down here, bro. When they, if they literally came up to me and said something like that, or whatever, oh, that's talking about me. They can't relate to Deuteronomy chapter 28. They'll be consumed. They couldn't stand to even sit up in your presence and even sit there and talk about it. It would scare the shit out of them, probably. Yep, it would. It probably would scare the living shit out of them, because they don't know what it's like. They can't experience, because it's not in them. It's not in their DNA. They don't know what it feels. That's why you think a lot of our people got diabetes from eating all them damn. We didn't have nothing but flour and rice and stuff like that. That's why most of our people are suffering from diabetes and high blood pressure, because all we had was salt and rice in the house, and we took that and we made a meal off of that. That's why most of our people experience diabetes, heart attacks, strokes, and every goddamn thing else, because of so-called white people, man. You know, because they forefathers ruled this planet. They didn't have to worry about that, uh, working in the field like a lot of our people did. Now we in the modern day field. The modern day field for us will be working on the job and not being paid right. Name a job that the average so-called African American black person that worked on a job and worked all their fucking life and never got paid right. And name where they tell you that we got paid good over here. Name some so-called black people that can stand up and hooray right now that they worked at Burger King all their life and they was able to buy them a brand new Lamborghini, a car, or whatever, a brand new this and that and the third. Name a person that worked at Taco Bell and was able to do that. No, because those type of jobs represents working in this cotton as a slave field. It's modern day working in the cotton and slave field. Like me, I worked all my life. Did I ever get paid right? Nope. That's why I probably couldn't keep a job. And I'm exposing this information because for edification, to edify some of our other brothers and sisters. You may be one of those that's listening to this here, and if you wasn't able to keep a job, then you can relate to what I'm saying right here. The reason why a brother said the reason why you lost a job, because you are chosen people of God. The so-called white people, they're not chosen by God. You see what I'm saying? If they stand up and say, raise your hand if you worked on a job and you always got fired, or somebody came fucking with you for some reason, I can like, yep, me, it'll be 1,000 other people, but you'll see my hand up too if it's the crowd big enough, because I'll be able to do it. Everybody can't relate. The so-called white people, man, they can't relate. Listen to these things and say, "Oh, that's talking about me. We live in a single-parent household. We poor. Oh, that's talking about me." They live in this society and they have white privileges. They can do whatever they want in here, in this society. If you bump up against their damn car or whatever, your ass gonna get more in trouble than you bumping their damn car. A so-called white person. They will. They will ride the shit out you for that so-called white woman or white man. Especially if she's an elderly woman. Matter of fact, she ain't gotta be no elderly woman. But I'm just saying, especially an elderly person, an elderly so-called white woman, you go there, you be the act like you want to try to rob somebody, you rob that person. You just might as well just your life is over with. That's how they are about their people. You see what I'm saying? But we have been conditioned. We have been conditioned to hate each other. We have been conditioned to, if one of our people do something against another so-called white person, we have been conditioned to look at them and say, yeah, he did it. He did it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did it. Over for a bag of barbecue potato chips, a biscuit, a piece of Kentucky Fried Chicken. We'll do it in a heartbeat. Yeah, we'll do it for them. And that's how destroyed we are. That's why the Bible says, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. They destroy. That's why our people call themselves African American, black, all this type of stuff. Haitian Creole, French Creole, French this and that and the third, whatever, Haitian, Dominican, Mexican, all our people, we call ourselves them different names and stuff, like all these different names. Creole is, to me, is just a new word for the name black. That's all. All right, what's up? Yeah, you do a so-called white woman something and run into their cars or something like that. You see what I'm saying? Just run into their car or accidentally or something like that. They'd be like, well, I ain't trying to hear that. You know what they could try to call us. You know what I mean? I remember a long time ago, before I came into this truth, back in 2009, I didn't even know nothing about this truth. God had the chosen people. I was going into Dollar Tree, I believe I was, but I do remember they had this so-called black man, and they had this so-called white woman sat up there and said what she said. She walked up to this other so-called black man in his face and called him a nigger. And that offended me. And I walked over to the so-called black man. I said, what the hell? Just like that. I never forget that day. This was in 2009. Mm-hmm. Yep, it was in 2009. And I said, what the? And she went on in the store. I came home and told my family about it, told my brother. He said, he better be glad that wasn't him. He said he'd have went back up in there and he'd have cussed her right back out. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying to myself, I don't blame him. You know what I'm saying? Because they feel like they can just walk up to people and they can just talk to you any kind of way. And then what's so killing about it, you can't even stand on the corner of your street and speak and talk about although I am standing here or whatever, but they're threatening you for speaking like this. But they cannot relate to this. They can't relate to this. None of this what I'm talking about. The so-called black, Hispanic, and Native American people, their spirits is the only spirit that can bear witness with this. No other nation of people cannot bear witness with this truth. But a lot of our people will still try to argue it. And that's stupid to argue something that's in your DNA. You see what I'm saying? You can't argue something that's in your DNA. No matter how much you tried, my beloved brothers, so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native American people, we cannot deny that. You can't deny it because it's in your DNA. It's in our DNA. It's in the blood forever. It's in the natural blood. One thing about this truth, you can't, like all those fake Jews with being converts and all that, you can't convert to this. It's either you this by blood or you ain't. No, so-called white man, they can't look at this so-called white woman, can't look at this and say, oh, that's talking about me and my people. Because they people didn't go through slavery like this. Here. No, they people didn't go through it. They'll try to graft their stuff in and say, oh, my so and so, oh yeah, I'm a child of God. No. If you're a child of God, then why are you killing our people? If you're a child of God, why are you killing the so-called black man, my brothers and sisters? Why are you doing that? Our people, Sandra Bland, Tamir Rice, Eric Garner, who would do something like that? The child of the devil would do something like that. Because when you kill Eric Garner, our brothers and our sisters like that, that's not the definition of a child of God to me. That sounds like an enemy would do something like that. It sounds pretty much like that's an enemy to me. To put somebody in chains, create a jail cell, a prison, so that our people bring drugs and put drugs in our community so that our people can go and get it, because you automatically know. And I don't like all these Uncle Tom, how they be sitting up and talking about, oh, well, you can't blame the white man for everything. You can't blame the white man. You can't blame the white man. How not you can't blame? That's a damn lie. Because they take and they bring drugs in our community, but you telling me we can't blame the so-called white man for the shit that they do. You're a damn lie for saying. Every time I get pissed off and I get angry when I hear shit like that. I do. How is it they not to blame? How is the drugs getting in our community? How is that getting in our community? How is it getting over here? If they really think about it, we've been in this condition for over hundreds of years, right? It's been 50 years, right? Martin Luther King, he was doing the civil rights movement. Now here it is 50 years later. Here we is living in a so-called 2000. What changed? Nothing, never changed. You can still, our people, we still can do something and still can be in their penitentiary. 70% of our people fill up, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American people, Latinos, Native Americans, are the mass highest of incarceration in the prison system. So you telling me, and then you got to look at this white Jesus that they done painted white, going around telling you that this man that you looking at as your as looking like an enemy, that's look a God that's looking like your enemy, a God that you telling me this blonde haired blue eyed man that they got hung on the wall talking about God, and you got to sit there and look at this white image of this so-called a white God, that a God that looks like your enemy, praying to that fake ass Caesar Boaz J white ass God. And that's what they taught our people to do. Yeah. And I be wanting my people to hear this hymn. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. I be wanting people to hear it. Yeah. The thing about me is I want to be bold in this truth. You know? You looking at, matter of fact, I'm gonna try to see if I can bring an image or make a copy of one, put it up and say, we've been praying to this demon our whole life. But you got to look at this God that looks like your enemy. Ain't no way. Now I did it years ago. I'm not gonna pray to no man that looks like a white God. Not me. That I done found out what the truth is. No. Mm-mm. And this same one that's we call our people worshiping, shooting you down in the streets and locking you up in their penitentiary, that doesn't sound like a loving God. Does it sound like a loving God would do you that? Would your friends take a gun and say, if you don't straighten up, I'm gonna put a bullet in your head? What does that sound like? That sounds like an enemy to me. It sounds like an enemy to me to walk up to you and say, you're detained, like they did my brother on YouTube. He know who I'm talking about. Came and walked up because they didn't want to hear the truth, and walked up to my brother and decided to say, you are detained, and then turned and took and put him in the damn car. I think about that all the time. And if we go back and look at that video, what they did to our brother or whatever, we should be pissed off every time we even think about that video. We should be pissed off when we think about that video. And then you should be pissed off, and we should be ashamed celebrating Thanksgiving. We should be angry, mad, and pissed off when we think about Thanksgiving. Yeah. When you think about Thanksgiving and stuff, that shit was about to slaughter the natives of America. We should be pissed off at that damn image, looking at that, and that white folks and killed our people. Yeah. Our people, we should be angry about that shit. Yeah. I be trying to let people know I give a damn, by letting them hear what I'm saying. I be trying to let people know I give a damn. And I'm glad. I'd be happy to come out here and at least try to let our people know. And I be wanting them to overhear me, because I be trying to get them around so we can have a dialogue about this thing. But I want to be more bolder than what I am. And when I do come out here, I want to come out here correct. Have the signs showing up. Yeah. Our people should be pissed off when they think about that damn image. Y'all bear with me, y'all, in this truth, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not started. I'm starting out and stuff like that. And you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Get a reader or something like that, and get somebody that's willing, Yeah, man. I love our people, man. Yeah, man. That's love for your people, man. When you come out here, even though you have to experience persecution from your people, you know what I'm saying? And they sit and they look at you like like you stupid or something. You know what I'm saying? But it's all love, though. They don't know that. They don't know it. It's all love, though. It's kind of dark because I'm not in the light no more. Yeah. Get ready to come into some light. You know what? It was for a reason that I went back there and stood up back there, because I wanted to come out and let our people know. When I talk about it, you know what I'm saying? Um, anger, so you get stirred up, because when you think about, they done took that image and then deceived our people with that, and then turn around and explode it to the world. Then when they see us on the streets, then they want to come up and try to shoot you down in the streets and stuff. And that's what really would piss you off. But you walking around here with a white Jesus, thinking that we supposed to worship that shit. You know? Like, hell no. What the hell you think? Who the hell you think we is? It's pretty chilly out here. I didn't think I was coming out here to do this, but I stood right there and it was on my mind. Since it came to me, I said, I want to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to let my people know. I be trying to get people to hear me, to get them to overhear me, so that try to catch them so we can have a dialogue or something. You know what I'm saying? But it's all love though for my people, you know? So I'm gonna get up out of here, y'all. I'm gonna scat up out of here, and I'm gonna see y'all a little bit later here. We're gonna talk a little bit later. I'm out.
peace and love to my people of color, and I love y'all, man. So-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American people, which are the real Jews according to the Bible.